Indians are divided regarding the Nijar killing issue. One group are the intellectuals, the moderates, the leftists, and the other ones are the general moderate mass who are viewing it a certain way, and there comes the fanatic ones who are usually blind about anything Narendra Modi has. The intellectuals, the leftists, but they are usually vehement critic of Narendra Modi's other policies. They will criticize Justin Trudeau regarding his claims that his claims are flawed and he didn't have any concrete evidence to support his claim that Indian government was behind the killing, etc. Then comes the general moderate critics of Narendra Modi or general moderate supporters of Narendra Modi. They will say that Nijar was a terrorist and India was right if Indian government carried out the killing. But they will not criticize certain issues like that Indian law, for example, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, where the law enforcing agencies do not require any judicial process to brand someone a terrorist. They will not go into that. They will just simply concentrate on the fact that Nijar was a designated terrorist who was a separatist. So they will justify that in that way. Then finally comes the blind supporters of Narendra Modi and his regime, usually the Hindu fanatics. They will say that, well, we did the right thing. Even if we carried out the killing, it was the right thing to do. America and his allies bombed Iraq. Suddenly they will show love for Iraq and Afghanistan, which they never did. So they will suddenly start citing the examples of America and America's allies bombing Iraq, Syria and all that. They will say, well, India did the right thing. India has the right to kill terrorists and Nijar was a terrorist. So they will have no idea what sovereignty meant and how killing of bin Laden and killing of Nijar are not the same. Obviously, they are driven by emotions. They are driven by religious fervor. It is more about keeping the Ram Rajya intact under Narendra Modi's regime. They will say Narendra Modi is the greatest ruler that India ever had, etc. They will not go into details about what is sovereignty and how India might run into problems with international relationships. They will not go into that. So they will rely on India being great power now. India is the most populous nation of the world. Justin Trudeau can't do anything. So India is rather divided, but all of them are united in criticizing Justin Trudeau and in justifying the killing somewhere or other, which is a dangerous sign because it seems that Indians are centuries behind in understanding how the international law and international politics in civilized countries are run. There is also a dangerous development in the offing. During the General Assembly meeting of the United Nations in New York, President Joe Biden was not explicit in his condemnation about the killing of Mr. Nijar by Indian government. He was not even clear and explicit in demanding a thorough investigation and collaboration of India and Canada into finding the facts. And Mr. Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of UK, rather he was silent in a way. Only leader of the Five Eyes country, the Australian Prime Minister, was a bit clearer than other Five Eyes country leaders in criticizing India about the issue. So it seems that there is a growing schism amongst the Five Eyes countries regarding their own internal domestic affairs when it comes to international cooperation with the allies. This is a dangerous sign. If, owing to the fact that India is becoming an economic powerhouse, or India is needed very much to be on the side of America and the allies regarding the Ukrainian issue, and that's why we need to compromise certain human rights issues or certain sovereignty issues of the member states, then the relationship amongst the allies of the Five Eyes countries will be weakened. We can't compromise with that. We saw a similar situation where Adnan Khashoggi was killed and America was silent, or rather when President Trump was asked what he was going to do about the Adnan Khashoggi issue and whether he would punish Saudi Arabia, he said America came first, and as Saudi Arabia had huge investment and bilateral economic relationship with the US, he didn't have any plans to punish Saudi Arabia. So if the rest of the allies do not unite behind Canada regarding the Niger issue, we will see similar situations when it comes to United Kingdom or USA needing Canada's support, which is not very good for the Western world and the democratic values they stand for. And this schism will be further worsened if in the future the BRIC nations become stronger, because France already wants to have closer ties with China, and only Germany last night in the General Assembly condemned the president of China as a dictator. So it's a dangerous sign that if the BRIC nations are successful in creating schism amongst the NATO countries or amongst the G7 countries, then it is not a good news for those of us who are voicing our concerns about human rights violations of the citizens of the countries where we are sheltered, and the countries which we consider to be vanguards of freedom, or where we can seek for our security at times of need. So if these countries lose the dignity of upholding human rights at any cost, is compromised, then they will have no say when it comes to having a say regarding human rights to be an issue to criticize other rogue states. Dangerous world we are heading to.